What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, and I'm so excited to be here live on another edition of the Addicted to Combat cast for the biggest pay-per-view week of the entire year so far, UFC 280. I'm so excited. There's been a lot of good content out this week. So in this podcast, I've got a special guest, not the one I intended to have originally, but it's going to be my first repeat guest and a really good friend of mine in this space. So I'm just excited to talk to you guys, talk to my guest, and just kind of, we're going to go over some detailed analysis here and some bets we have. But I mostly just want to trade back and forth opinions and, start incorporating you guys in the chat. Shout out any strong opinions. I know this is a big fight with Islam and Charles Oliveira, and you're either all in or all out on whatever side you're on this week. So I'm excited to talk about it. And again, this is the first show I'm partnered up with a sports book for this show, affiliated with BetUS. So look in the description below. If you need another sports book, it's good to have a collection. I mean, part of just easy profit in this game is just having different sports books that have different price lines on sports. Of course, I only care about mixed martial arts, but BetUS has got you covered with all sports. So check that description below for 125% match bonus in your deposit. And I was going to have Bert MMA, who's a legend of the YouTube space. Got a lot of followers. He puts out like 10 videos a day. I watch some of them. And I'm a big fan of the kid, and I really wanted to hear live Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev in a lightweight division. But I don't get to hear it because Bert never got back to me. So maybe in the future, but I have the chief of IT of the MMA engine, the prince of parlays, the pharaoh of Philly himself, LouBetya. I'm going to bring him in right now. What's going on, Lou? How you doing, brother?
Let me make something crystal clear. When Eric told me you were going to have Bert, I'm like, okay, stop being an asshole. And now you're telling me this. And I want to make something very, very clear.
It was true.
I'm the first guy that's getting Bert on the channel in this community. Because
I thought I was going to be the first. And then he just went MIA on like everybody, I think.
And since he's not around to do your show, I will do my best to sample some of his.
I want intros voices like that on at least every other fight, especially also, the Russian names.
And also I'm realizing the problem with my webcam isn't the problem with my webcam or my ring light. It's that I'm just short. And there ain't a goddamn thing. And unless I grow during the show, and I'm in my 40s, so probably not happening.
I'm going to stretch you out.
Like so
you're going to be Hasbulla. By the time you're 50, you're going to be like Hasbulla size.
I don't want to fight that guy, but thanks for having me on, dude.
Of course, my favorite.
First show in a very busy next 48 hours for me doing content. I'm glad I could start off with my guy Pat.
Heck yeah, man! Which fight are you most excited for in this card? I mean, aside from the main event itself, which one do you have?
Man, it's hard to say because it's not like a fight that means a lot, but like Krylov Oezdemir, I think is going to be a lot of fun.
I like that. That's a good answer.
But I think other than the title fights, and even actually more than the Sterling fight, I'm really curious to see this Gamrot Dariush fight because I'm super high on Dariush, just period. I think he's an excellent fighter. I don't know what he's going to look like coming off an injury, and Gamrot, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, like just this dude, his takedowns are so good. He's tough. He's good volume. Like I like everything I see about him. And I think he's being positioned as, well, now Volk's going to take the next shot, but
which is, I agree with Volk taking the next shot, but yeah, this is a guy like if Dariush comes through once again as an underdog here, like how do you not give him that title shot?
And if Gamrot wins, he's got to be at least, at worst, he's one fight away at that point.
Right.
So I think in terms of like stakes, I love it. I love that. So
that's what I'm saying. Oh, let's hit the chat real fast. We got Daz, first man in here. Let's fucking go. 280. Even my grandma is watching. Yeah, man, everybody's grandparents should watch MMA, man. Have some respect. We got Victor De Jesus saying, what's up, gentlemen? Let's cash tickets this weekend. Thanks, Victor. Always good to see you, man. I'm not sure if you're working or not. I know you do that second shift. We got Mark Gomez. I don't know, is he making like a noise? Like, is that like a little Hasbulla? Like the little Hasbulla grunts that are in all of his Instagram videos? Yeah, he's always like shooting a gun, making little grunting sounds like that. Got CJP UFC bets. Yeah, go check out CJP UFC bets on YouTube. It's a newer channel. They have a few breakdowns up, but they do great work over there. Go subscribe to them, my boys. Mark saying, finally, been waiting all day for this. Yeah, man, I've been waiting all day to talk fights as well, and there's a pretty hefty schedule of content to get through. And this is the question everybody's asking, man, for sure. I don't know about Little Punk. He's a very fit individual, and we're gonna have him on here at some point. I don't know Bert that well at all. I mean, we traded some words on Instagram a few weeks back. He seemed
That's
pretty
really
chill.
fucking weird, by the way.
I said, let's.
Oh, that's right. You're in your 20s. Instagram's weird for me. It's not weird.
Well, look, so I wasn't on Instagram either until those weirdos Johnny K Picks and Blood Money MMA Bets. I know you're watching, you guys. Your show's over. Go subscribe to them. But my boys, they only hang out on Instagram. There's like a whole sect of like MMA Twitter that not MMA Twitter, but like MMA fans and content creators that just hang out on Instagram and they want nothing to do with Twitter, and it's very strange. So.
We have MMA Engine has an Instagram that Brady does, and I don't want to know anything about it. I don't want to deal with it.
It's kind of a sect of weirdos, but they're kind of cool. I mean, it's a whole different audience that just rejects Twitter. So I don't blame them for that. I wasn't on Twitter until.
Hey man, I remember when we didn't have this shit, and you had to call somebody, and then
you had to tie your predictions to a pigeon's thigh, and then
or just go to the bar and assume your friends are there because you're all a bunch of fucking alcoholics. That's how it used to be.
Well, it's still like that if you just turn off your computer and turn off your phone. So let's break into this, man. We got 13 fights after that 19-year-old Japanese kid is no longer fighting Mustafayev. So unfortunately, I was actually excited to see that. And I had loaded up a bet on, what was his name? Yamato Nishikawa versus Mustafayev. No, I was taking
you took the under.
Yeah, I took the under. I took the fight doesn't go, and I loaded up on it. But
you can't take the minus 800 there or whatever it
was. No. So, and let's start off with Karol Rosa taking on Alina Lansberg, who I knew had I think she has one more fight in her contract, if I'm not mistaken, and she's kind of been not getting in there for a while. She was, on a long layoff. Lena Lansberg, she got in there earlier this year and lost to Kianzad, who she had fought previously. I mean, Karol Rosa should win here, right? I mean, do we have any sort of upside on Lena Lansberg? My thing for Lansberg is she's used to be really, really good in the clinch. She used to bully girls around, good elbows, of course, in the clinch, but now she's getting bullied there, even as far back as looking at the Macy Chiasson fight. And, of course, Chiasson's the clinch queen as well, but she's been bullied. I think this is going to look a lot for Karol Rosa like her last fight against who'd she fight before? Betch Kohea. I think it's going to look like a lot like the Betch Kohea fight, right? Where she just gets in close, lands vicious combos, backs her up to the cage, maybe employs a takedown or two, but mostly just those knees in the clinch. I see Rosa winning a decision here, minus 125, minus 130 for Rosa decision is the best I could do on this to transform that money line. What do you think about this bantamweight fight?
I don't have much more to add for this one. I hate coming in on the first fight without much to say, but this should be one-way traffic from Rosa. I mean, McMahon was just horrible stylistic matchup for her.
Right.
And even in the third round, I thought Rosa looked all right. So
she did. She finally got her game going in that third round.
I don't even know why Landsberg's fighting at this point. I don't see the upside in her even being here. So this just seems like a fight to get Rosa back on track. At minus, it's currently 315. All my odds, I say that I will be from DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way. I know it's against your sponsor. It's just what I looked up. So I'm sure other books have very similar odds, like BetUS, for instance, where you can sign up under the comments.
America's favorite sports book.
See,
you motherfucker.
BetUS, give me a call. I think Rosa, she's a parlay piece at best, but honestly, the best part about this card being so early in the morning, as amped as you are for fights, I feel like you can just not bet this one. So if you're going to bet her, I think there's a possibility she could get a finish here, but do I really want to do that or lay this kind of chalk in a women's MMA fight to start the card? I do not. So if I do get to the window, I'll probably parlay it. There are good parlay pieces on this card we're going to talk about, but just for the sake of the show, Rosa wins, and let's move on to the fights I actually.
But one more on that point. Do you think Rosa is that parlay piece? Would you be comfortable doing that? No. Not you personally, but no, not at all.
No, because
I don't think so either.
But look,
at minus 340, maybe a little bit less than the money line. But again, for a parlay, if you're thinking about it properly, like a parlay, you should be comfortable with playing the money line on each leg of that parlay.
Yeah,
right?
and to me, it's look, I have friends and I've been like this in my life, and there's people watching this that are like this. You just want to bet every fight. You want to have action, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's your money. Have fun with it. And but if you're gonna bet this fight, tread really lightly, because we've seen it time and time again the last 2 years. All these heavy chalk, low level women's MMA fights, and I don't think Rosa's low level. By the way, I think she's decent. I just think it was a bad matchup against Sarah McMahon. Landsberg, I believe, is low level. but you never really know with these fights, man. A lot of travel. You fighting in and look, there's a narrative side. You're women fighting in Abu Dhabi. There's a narrative side to this too. Like, it's weird. It's intimidating. It's a strange culture over there for women's MMA. I'm not insulting any culture.
Not to mention Carol Rosa, not to harp on this fight anymore, but she's a -340 favorite now, and she is coming off of a loss, right? So this is
Lansberg stinks.
Yeah, but I mean, this is like the overcorrection. Like, imagine if she's coming off, if she's still undefeated in the UFC. Like, imagine this would be -500.
Well, she's undefeated. She's not fighting Lansberg, but I see what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
I'm not comfortable laying -300 in this fight, but I don't see how the pick is Rosa to win.
All right, moving on up the card, we have another young guy in Muhammad Mokaev taking on Malcolm Gordon. This is the biggest money line favorite of the entire night. Let me look and see exactly what it is now. -1,300 on BetOnline. Oh my God, +850 for Malcolm Gordon. This is insane. Yeah, I mean, how do you see Malcolm Gordon getting the victory here if he was to do it? Do you see a flash submission, or he just manages to get on top position and ride out like 2 rounds worth? Or I don't see any.
He could break his arm in the first round like Bondar did.
Yeah, like Dennis Bondar. That's basically how he's been riding through his victories here. So basically, how do you think Mokaev wins this fight? Do you think he gets it done inside the distance, or does he have another Charles Johnson-like performance and just gets 20 takedowns, holds him there?
Okay, let me just say this. So when on the card where Makhachev fought Thiago Moises, Malcolm Gordon fought Figueiredo. And that is the closest I've ever come to winning $100,000 on DraftKings. Because Billy Q,
that card, I've heard about this.
Billy Q got like 150 points, beating up Mugli. I went 6 for 6. All my dudes had finishes except Malcolm Gordon, because I had to plug somebody in at a low salary, and he came through with a win. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I got a shot at this thing. Like, if he got the win. And the only reason I didn't get the 100,000 is because Misha Tate decided to just get 100 billion points and get a 3rd round finish. But so I have a fondness for Malcolm the Iron Chin Gordon. So can he stop the takedowns like Energy did? No, because Charles Johnson, when you watch his tape, I think I don't think Charles Johnson has like great offense. His takedown defense is fucking great, and his get-up game is really good. I actually thought it was a really interesting test for Mokaev.
Yeah, because he's a huge guy.
But Charles Johnson is like, his specialty is staying out of trouble on the ground, like, and his cardio is really good. So I think Mokaev did the best he could in that situation. He wasn't trying to finish him. I wasn't trying to knock him out. He was trying to get him into good grappling positions, but Charles Johnson just really fought well. Malcolm Gordon is not going to be able to do that for 15 minutes, but more importantly, Malcolm Gordon's chin is still a huge liability.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at these odds, there's something really interesting here to me that I don't quite understand. Mokaev to win by sub is +115. Mokaev KO is +240. Mokaev decision is +225. I don't know why KO is the widest odds of the 3 of them. If you play into what Mokaev's going to try to do, I guess the submission makes sense. But if you play into like Gordon's liability, it's his chin. It's not like Mokaev. Mokaev's got some pop, man. Like,
yeah, he does. We're just coming off of 2 victories back to back in the UFC for Mokaev, and the first one was in March in London, right, where he did that to Cody Durden. He flying kneed him. He feinted his way in range,
and then got the snub.
Yeah, he's got very good movement, very good side-to-side movement. You don't know, he'll go left to right, and then right up the center, and you're on the ground. So Blood Money MMA Bets is kind of pretty much saying this too. He's saying Mokaev by sub round 1 is his prediction, by club and sub, or just by sub. So,
but he could
maybe he sets it up with the strikes.
So I think in the distance here, which is you're still laying a lot of juice, which I typically don't like doing for a fight like this. It's -225 in my book.
Okay,
I'm more comfortable with this as a parlay piece because I don't see Gordon surviving 15 minutes in this fight. But I'm gonna take a poke on the KO. I like the value I'm getting with against a guy whose chin is traditionally a massive liability.
Yeah, I had that written down as well as Mokaev inside the distance, just because you don't have to choose which one, at this point, yeah, it might just be a parlay piece, or like, I know you like to do your round robins, which were actually doing very well last week before, I think, was Victor Henry in there as one of the things that,
I don't know.
knocked it down. But
I don't know. Once the walls start melting after like 2 losses in a row, I just turn the computer off. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
You had a lot of good ones going on early, though. I know there was a lot.
I was a prelim king, and then it went to fucking shit.
That's annoying. Well, that's what happens when the prelims go too well. Everything's too predictable that I'm like, I know there's variance here. I was actually talking with texting Wiz Bets during the fights, and right before the Asuncao Henry fight happened, I'm like, things have been going way too predictably. Asuncao is going to just dominate, and then he ended up dominating. I was like, well, there's your variance right there, but. Moving on up the card, too. So we're in agreement so far. Rosa and Mokaev, not two very controversial picks here. But maybe we'll get some disagreement here. We got the middleweight division, Armen Petrosyan versus AJ Dobson. And this fight is a one where I really am liking the violent spot here. I've got a bet on the under 2.5. I do have a couple units on that at minus 170. I think it's since moved a little bit higher than that, but these guys, I think it's going to be violence in round one, honestly. I think they're both going to swing. This is a stylistic matchup for both guys that they would really prefer is just to be on the feet. Obviously, Petrosyan's a kickboxer. Dobson kind of has that he's almost like a middleweight edition of Chaos Williams in a way. If you watch all of his prelims, he just has death touch in his hands. He comes from he actually trains his strength and conditioning at Westside Barbell in Columbus, Ohio, which if you guys don't know Westside Barbell, I compete in powerlifting, and Westside Barbell is like the mecca of powerlifting. Like Louis Simmons, who ran it and was actually coaching Dobson strength and conditioning, is like, I base all of my training around that guy's teachings. I have all of his books. I mean, so it's a great gym to come out of. Matt Brown trained at Westside Barbell. So did Kevin Randleman back in the day, former heavyweight champion, right around 2000. So legendary gym to have come from. I think this is just going to be pure violence. We didn't get a chance to see that with AJ Dobson because he got, of course, just, taken down time and time again by Jacob Malkoun last time out. But if you base it off of his, regional scene footage and what we saw on the Contender Series, this guy swings not with a lot of technique, but he knows if he just lands on you, you're going down. So I'm taking Petrosyan, the more technical guy here, to get the victory. I think whoever wins, though, and I think AJ Dobson's a lot more live than his money line would indicate here. So I'm just taking the unders in this fight. Lou, who do you have winning this one? Do you have any bets on this?
Yeah, I think Petrosyan's going to murder him, to be honest.
Murder him?
With you. I just don't love anything. Like, if you look at, for me, with Dobson's tape, look, he's bombing cans, and I get it, and he's got a lot of power. Look, let's forget about the Malkoun fight for a second, because that's just, I don't know why they gave him Malkoun. Like, such a weird.
Yeah, ruined him.
But you have a guy who's an exciting striker, and you give him Malkoun to just throw him down and do nothing for 15 minutes. I don't really like that. But I like what I've seen. Petrosyan's striking is great. And look, go back to the RoboCop fight. He got kicked in the face as hard as you can kick a dude. He went down, Rodriguez is on his back, and 30 seconds later, he was on his feet, and he was all right. Broke his nose, no big deal. So what the hell's Dobson going to do to him? Like, Petrosyan can take shots. I don't know that Dobson can from a guy who is a very skilled technical striker. Petrosyan in the distance is minus 105, or it might have been KO. Hold on. Petrosyan KO's minus 105. I don't see a submission here.
That's it. Well, that chops his money line in half, because right now we're looking at Petrosyan minus 200. We're looking at plus 170 Dobson. Do you think the money line itself should be closer on this fight just because of the potential for violence, or do you think Petrosyan has,
the problem is
technical striking covered?
Petrosyan's shown he can go 15 minutes, and he looked good in the third round against RoboCop. Whether or not you think that was robbery aside.
Right, that was impressive. That's a feather in your cap, in my opinion, just to last 3 rounds. And
look at the dudes that RoboCop's fought that, he annihilates people. So the fact that he survived and won, again, whatever you think of the decision, very close, and had great moments against Rodriguez in that fight. The thing is Dobson really hasn't proven that, we don't know. It's hard to say with the Malkoun fight, but I don't know that Dobson's power carries late because we haven't seen it. It's an unknown. I'm not saying it doesn't, but we just don't really know. Sure. I know Petrosyan's does, and I think he's more technical. I think he's more defensively sound. Rodriguez his boxing is super underrated. It's not just the power. The guy's got some very good technical skills. I don't know that Dobson has those skills. So I think Petrosyan can stay out of trouble. I think by round 2, he gets him out of there, but I'm playing the KO at minus 105 Petrosyan. And I don't think it's going to be, if you like the Dobson side, I took this last time against Malkoun, take the round 1 KO. Because that's
that's up there. I've seen anywhere from plus 800 to plus 1,000 on that.
And I think it's worth it. But I don't know that it happens. But like, goddamn, it feels like his only winning condition to me.
Yeah, I think both guys are going to be willing to strike. Like you mentioned at the top, you're like, why give him Malkoun? That was like a gift for Malkoun, or a chance. It was like one thing was going to happen. It was going to be a boring fight the way it played out, or it was going to be Malkoun getting knocked out like Phil Hawes style. It turned out to be more of a feather in the cap for Jacob Malkoun. We got Daz Files saying his grandmother has $250 on the under 2.5. All right.
Can I bring one more? I want to bring one more thing up before we move on.
Me and Daz Files' grandma are cashing this bet. This is one of my bigger prop bets of the night.
We have seen Dobson go to takedowns. He does have some grappling in his back pocket. He's not just 100% striking. And you watch Petrosyan get taken down. His last 2 fights, he got taken down a lot. His get-up game didn't look so great last time, but, look who he's facing.
Exactly, yeah. But then you look at the Contender Series, he got taken down, popped right back up with, like, a lower-level guy.
He popped up against Rodriguez a lot.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Well, true, yeah.
So I don't know that Dobson, even if he goes to takedowns, A, he's not going to be able to hold him down, and B, I think Dobson's going to just tire himself out doing it. So all the paths I see here lead for me for Petrosyan KO, and probably after the first round. So
I like it. Yeah.
This one.
Hey, say what's up to Zach Singleton.
What's up, Zach?
Say, my guys, what's going on, Zach? And Mushroom say, what's up, Patrick and Lou? Is this a remake of the movie Twins? Either way, let's fucking go. Remember that movie Twins with DeVito and Schwarzenegger? I think I'm the DeVito in this situation.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm the DeVito of like the Community, but I prefer Frank Reynolds, of course, from It's Always Sunny, because him and I share morals.
May I offer you an egg in this trying time?
Thank you dude. That's awesome that you said that.
Dude, I'm obsessed with Always Sunny.
You've seen the one where he wrestles. He's the trash man, right?
Oh, of course, yeah, with Roddy Piper making the cameo. Yeah, of course.
You guys haven't seen that. That's like one of the best episodes ever.
Some funny stuff in there. Anyways, moving on. So we're on the same side of that as well. Thinking Petrosyan. You seem very confident, Petrosyan. I'm confident in him to get this done, but I think it's very dangerous for both guys. I think this money line could be closer. But moving on to one of the first OVs of the night, besides Mokaev, we've got an OV here. We've got Abubakar Nurmagomedov taking on where are my notes here? Oh, Omargadzhiev. This keeps on throwing me off because this is at welterweight, and Gadzi, is coming down a weight class here. We've seen Gadzi, of course, on the Contender Series get a early submission, and now we've seen him against Caio Borralho. They pinned 2 Contender Series alumnus against each other, and of course, Gadzi did not get the winning side of that. So he's moving down a weight class to 170. That's a red flag for me. Abubakar Nurmagomedov kind of gambling on this guy. Like, he's shown really good stuff in his past, but he really does find a way to lose. I mean, the PFL was not the best look for him. He got clubbed and subbed in round 2 of that fight. That was going on 4 years. Yeah, a little over 4 years ago now. Subbed in round 1 in the UFC. Was he the guy who popped for I think he popped for something.
Yes.
And was he or no?
Yes.
What did he test positive for? I'm let me get my notes.
Heroin?
I'm losing my mind here. Was it heroin?
Probably.
Was it really?
Why don't more guys?
No, I think it was an injury. I don't know if he got popped for something. I think I'm thinking of somebody else.
He hurt his ovaries.
Okay, here it is. Yeah, okay, his ovaries. Anyways, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, not my favorite guy. I do think he gets the decision here, or at least maybe an inside the distance something. I don't know. It just seems like he might cruise his way to a decision in this bout, in my opinion. I don't know if Gadzi has the poor cardio, to keep up with him. I'm a little bit confused on the method of this one, but I do think Nurmagomedov is the better guy. It's just we're looking at a big range of skills that Omargadzhiev has fought so far. He fought somebody who looked really good in the past, padded record, but now against Caio, he looks terrible, all right? So he's somewhere in between a padded record and Caio Borralho. So I think Abubakar gets the job done here, but both guys are just like a gamble to bet on. Do you have a clear read on this fight? Because I clearly don't.
I feel like I do. And I am against you on this one. I am on the Gadzi side. And not only am I on the Gadzi side, but his in the distance props are like plus 400.
Okay.
It's so first of all, again, I feel like it's so funny that we keep talking about like people that have fought Caio Borralho.
No, it's like either Caio Borralho or like he's like the measuring stick, and he's a really poor one because he's very good. So it's like guys went from the Contender Series and the regional with a bunch of like negative record fights, and they fought Caio Borralho and got dusted, and now we don't know where they stand.
Right. So we don't have. So to your point, it's it's hard to say if he's somewhere in the middle, Yeah. So, but what I can tell you is on the Abubakar side, I just am not impressed with him at all. He's had some canceled bouts. The Jaron Gooden fight, I was just completely not impressed with him at all. The Zawada fight was just absolutely disgraceful. I can't back him as a favorite here, and I wonder, look, we're paying for the name. Like if you're betting him, you're paying for the name.
Absolutely.
His name was not Nurmagomedov. Now there should be something of note. Nurmagomedov no fighter has ever lost with Khabib in his corner. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
They've never lost a fight when he's in the corner. This will be the first fight.
Wasn't he cornering he's cornering, of course, his cousin Abubakar here.
Well, maybe he might have left before the loss happened. So it's like pro wrestling. If the ref doesn't see it, it did not count. So
now, isn't he cornering? I know we're jumping ahead here, but he's cornering Bilal, I believe, too, right?
I don't know. I know he's in the corner here. So,
interesting. But
I think that this will be a loss. And none of that, but like I like to move down to 170. I think that Godsey's going to have a little bit extra power here. I mean, look, this is one of those fights where like there's just a lot of unknowns. If you're not comfortable betting it, I totally get it. But I can't lay minus 165 on Nurmagomedov here, especially with how absolutely poor he's looked. I'm not betting the submission prop on Godsey, but I wouldn't hate it if you told me you were taking a shot on it. I wouldn't hate it, and it's crazy wide. I think it's like plus 700. So,
yeah, I didn't have a prop. I'm glad you had a prop and a clear read on this. I didn't even have a prop.
But give me the guy.
I did a very casual move though back when Mustafayev was on this card. I parlayed Mustafayev, Mokaev, and the dangerous one was Nurmagomedov. I just wanted an Evs and Ovs parlay. Just one unit, and that was plus money. And I knew Nurmagomedov was like the gamble there, but now I'm stuck with Nurmagomedov and Mokaev. So
what is it? Like 1 unit to win what? 0.1?
It's going to be something really. Yeah, it's going to be like 0.4 or something. So it was really you were getting that Mustafayev because I got that one a little bit early, but yeah, not to be had. So just stuck with that. Threw a unit down the toilet on that one.
It seems like somebody in chat does not like Godsey at all, and that's fine. Like, I mean, Nurmagomedov's not good either, so I'm going to take the dog price in a fight where, I mean, Nurmagomedov getting subbed to Zawada
that was tragic.
It's worse. Let's put it this way: it's a worse loss than anything that Godsey's shown. Like, it's the worst moment of either one of them. So give me the dog and the guy moving down in weight. Like, give me the guy who's the naturally bigger guy.
Okay. All right. Our first disagreement of the night. I like it, but you've got a much better read on this fight, it seems, as well. We got MMA Anomaly saying Islam wins, and Bilal probably does too. We'll see if I agree with you on this night. And Victor De Jesus and Khabib he's not undefeated as a corner man.
Okay. I thought he was. So maybe
Tagiru Ulanbekov lost. Oh, okay. Well, I remember that. That was unbelievable.
That's Tim Elliott. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. And
Tagiru
Ulanbekov has been close to losing a lot more fights than that one too.
Well, he might have maybe Khabib like pieced out of there, in the third round. He's like, no, it doesn't count.
Yeah, he's like, this doesn't count on my record. This isn't a tracked coaching bet right here. Papa Jackson, yo boys, you two on the screen look like a prize fighter and legendary coach side by side. Oh baby. I like that. Again, I don't know which one is who here. All right. So moving on to another exciting OV fight here. We got Zubaira Tukhugov versus Lucas Almeida. I have a bet on Zubaira Tukhugov here. I really do like him in this fight. I think he's more polished pretty much everywhere than Lucas Almeida. But I want you to start this one off since I started last time.
I have a prop on this one, actually.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't want to take a side here because I really like watching Almeida fight, but I do think
This is at featherweight, by the way. I did not mention the weight class, but this is at featherweight.
I do think that Tukhugov could kind of take him down the first 2 rounds and just neutralize him. But this has to be brought up. His last 6 fights, decision win against Thomas, which is very impressive. Split decision loss. Forget about the Kevin Aguilar fight. He's, not UFC caliber. Draw, split decision with Laron Murphy. Split decision loss to Moicano. Split decision win against Felipe Nover. Fight to end in a split decision is plus 40 on DraftKings. How do I not take it? 4 out of his last 6 fights have gone to split decision.
Like
and again,
that,
you can take the Aguilar fight out because that was like, here's a layup, dude. Because Aguilar is kind of, I don't want to be an asshole and insulting to like the fighters, but like that was a setup.
Please do. That's what this stream is for.
That was a setup fight. I mean, that was like that was Coco Beware against King Kong Bundy, kind of like, here, just get a quick win basically on TV. So
it's just a jobber. You're calling him a jobber.
Like the thing, and the biggest problem I have, if you look at Tukhugov's striking stats, which I'm not gonna, I'm gonna pull them up right now. His striking stats are like,
I like his striking more just visually and just effectively. Like he, I see him as he's got like the tighter striking. He doesn't overextend as much as often as I see Lucas Almeida, leaving a lot of holes defensively. And I think Zubaira does very well with, kind of backpedaling as well as striking effectively.
Let's talk here. You ready for his striking numbers?
Yeah, go for it.
Because this is why he has so many split decisions. This is why I get nervous. Okay, the Ramos fight, 77 strikes. Okay, that's fine. Dawodu, 35. Forget about Aguilar because he won that one by finish.
Yeah.
Outstruck by Murphy. Outstruck by Moicano. Nover, same amount of strikes. So that's concerning to me, especially now you're seeing judges, they don't like this lay and pray anymore. You need to do damage on the ground. So if he's getting control time and not doing anything with it, and Almeida can have like a good minute in the round, it gets hard to judge. And that's why I'm like, I lean to Tukhugov because I do think he can win the first 2 rounds, but I don't have a bet on the side yet. But I love the split decision prop here. I think he's going to win the minute. It's going to be, this is your minute winner versus moment winner kind of fight. I think Tukhugov will win most of the minutes. And also Almeida, like he looked against Zaluber, he looked pretty, active in the 3rd round. So I'm curious how the cardio advantage is going to go. Like, who's going to look better?
That's a big one for me, too, I'd say as well. The cardio
and if you want to bet, and by the way, the
proven to go the distance.
Like, if you're going to take a split decision, you may as well take a poke on the draw. Like, FanDuel always has it at 66-1. Very easily beat Tukhugov rounds 1 and 2 and Almeida with a 10-8 in the 3rd. Or Yam Bags, which is always fun and in play.
Yeah. It just seems like Almeida does have, he's going to have some of the physical advantages, right? I don't think the reach, but I know he's got a few inches of height. But yeah,
tell Victor. By the way, Victor, DraftKings is the one he was asking for.
Oh, gotcha. He's
DraftKings and Betway are the 2 that I have that. It's the same odds provider, so it's really the same book in a sense, but yeah, they have that.
Daz Files suggesting decision only bet for Zubaira or finish only for Almeida. I really do think Zubaira could get the job done inside the distance here. I really do think that Almeida overextends in a lot of his combinations and leaves a lot of openings, that I could see Tukhugov with the tighter boxing really exploit here. I mean, hopefully Tukhugov, just for the sake of a money line bet and winning, goes early and often to the grappling. I think that's too easy and too logical to do. I think it's going to be a striking battle for a while until Tukhugov gets on the worst end of a combination. Then he'll probably turn into a wrestler, so I don't really know. I'm just taking the money line on this. I just think everywhere in this fight, I think he's better and more proven than Almeida is. But I see a lot of smart people taking that underdog stab on Almeida. And we got LouBetya thinking this goes late and taking that split based on the history of Tukhugov here. So, hey, I appreciate you. MMA Anomaly says, love the channel and the content, by the way. Yeah, and he says, I think Zubaira gets it done, but is inconsistent in his showings, but has looked better as of late. And yeah, going through the record that LouBetya just did, I mean, obviously that reflects that. There's a mix of level of competition that Tukhugov has looked okay and bad. He's seen close fights against Moicano, Lerone Murphy, but then, Ricardo Ramos, actually, that's not even really a bad decision, like unanimous decision. Like, what do you think about that performance? Do you remember that fight?
It's a great win. I mean,
yeah, I thought it was very impressive the way he, usually Ricardo Ramos is not bullied around like that, taking the outside, and not getting as many strikes off. And he really bullied Ricardo Ramos, who's I think is really good.
I mean, the only other thing I have to say here is he's not as active as I'd like. So that's another reason, like, I really kind of hesitate. But the price is, but look, you're not paying a big price either way here. Like, I mean, to lay, what is he, 150, 155? You're not laying a big number.
I got him at minus 155.
So you don't have to go heavy to get a piece from here. But I just think I like all the overs here. I really do think.
Okay.
I just think he can control Almeida and neutralize him. It's the 3rd round where you kind of would have to worry if Almeida still looks live, because he showed against Zalubir. A guy has pretty good cardio and has no problem throwing caution to the wind. So
it's
I'm
just
sure
that last fight for me. It's that last fight with Almeida versus Trezano. And then when I imagine Tukhugov in Trezano's shoes in some of those exchanges, I just imagine that he could have ended that just as easily as Almeida ended it on Trezano. You know, like I feel like those opportunities would have been there for his striking. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this does go late. Maybe he can mix up a full range of MMA skills. But moving on to this is the fight that you had mentioned as an exciting one. Nikita Krylov taking on Volkan Oezdemir at the rare and elusive 205-pound division where there's like 30-some people and we rarely get fights here. So Oezdemir and Krylov are two guys who kind of are like in the middle of the pack there as far as being like top 15 guys. They kind of act as gatekeepers both in their own way. You know, they can beat the guys that are never going to be champions or never be top 5, but they're going to lose to the guys that are, you know, that championship caliber. And we kind of measure where they're at, Krylov and Oezdemir, based on how they perform against guys like Paul Craig or, you know, last year Ankalaev fought, you know, Oezdemir. So one thing about Oezdemir, I do have a money line bet on Oezdemir as an underdog here. I do think he gets the job done against Krylov. I don't know. Usually in a Krylov fight, you want to just start looking at the fight doesn't go because many of his fights end inside the distance. But Oezdemir could make this boring. I do like his performance against Magomed Ankalaev in round 1 last year. And just overall in that fight, just hanging in there against such a tough guy and actually getting the better of some moments against Ankalaev. But I think this is going to play out on the feet largely because you've got a grappler in Krylov who's going to struggle to get Oezdemir to the mat. And I think the reverse could even happen. I think Oezdemir could hold his own in top position against Krylov. So I'm taking Oezdemir. I think there should be a 50-50 fight at best. So give me the plus money on Oezdemir to get this done. I'm not quite sure how. Like I mentioned, Lou, I do always like the fight doesn't go to decision in these Krylov fights. Do you have a bet on this fight?
I do. I see my weird, creepy stalkers in chat too right now. DraftKings.
Sicky does MMA says, Lou, I will find you.
I mean, I already like, I don't know what his fucking.
Shout out to Sicky does MMA. I see him going hard on the Twitter all this week, calling out Islam Makhachev fans left and right, asking people if they're Muslim or not. I love the action, dude. I like this is why people stay on Instagram and don't even mess with you on Twitter. I love it.
I blocked them, so I'm not seeing any of that stuff. Here's a pretty good bet for the odds.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I just can't. I mean, maybe I'm just old. Maybe it's an age thing. I'm just like, fuck this, dude. And also, I don't want to go to jail. So there's that. Fight doesn't start round 3 is minus 120, which is crazy to me because it plays into everything Krylov does. Like, I favor the Krylov side here. The Krylov side. I like him a lot here. At plus 120 in the distance. I just, like you're saying about the Ankalaev fight, he's not bad, man. Like that was a decent performance by Oezdemir. He did the best job he could to kind of stay out of trouble. And we've seen Ankalaev like just wreck fools. So it's really impressed that. The Paul Craig fight was just brutally bad. But is it bad because it's stylistically bad? I mean, Craig made it ugly. Ironically enough, I lost to Shuey on that. And that tomorrow I have the guy I lost to Shuey to, Paul Shaughnessy, coming on the program.
Oh,
so that's
I can't wait for that. That's going to be awesome.
Oezdemir fights again, which is pretty funny. The thing is Oezdemir is not going to be able to fight his style of boring fight because I don't think Krylov will let him. So one of two things happens. Krylov just annihilates him from the jump, throws him down, and like either wraps up a neck or just ground and pounds him, or he gets caught by Oezdemir, who's still got some serious power, trains with good people. I think either one's in play. I don't see how this goes the distance because I don't think it's going to be fought on Oezdemir's terms. So fight doesn't start the 3rd round at minus 120. Like I already have a big bet on that. That is one of my favorite plays on this card. For the sake of the show, though, I do like the Krylov in the distance prop. Look, MMA math doesn't work, and we.
I disagree with the pick, but like if I had to choose how he wins, like obviously that fits right into it.
And like if you look at the Paul Craig fight, like we talk about MMA math and how it's like awful. I don't know what to say about the Oezdemir fight because I don't know what the hell Paul Craig was really trying to accomplish by the style, but Krylov was killing him, and then made a stupid mistake. The thing is Oezdemir is not going to make him. The only mistake that Oezdemir is going to make him pay for is rushing in and catching him with like with a straight right.
Right.
He's not going to make him
like he's really fast, like in bursts when he wants to be,
And but the thing is, if this thing hits the ground, Oezdemir's screwed, man. Like I think Krylov is he's slick. Like I don't want to even look into the Walker fight, but he neutralized a guy like Johnny Walker. But Jimmy Crute, just the way he gets people into bad positions in like a flash is really impressive. It's just when he wants to do it. I can't really evaluate the Gustafsson fight, but he did what he was supposed to do. He annihilated him.
Isn't it odd how these guys are like Krylov is 30 years old. He's had 16 UFC fights. Like I've been hearing Nikita Krylov forever. I've been hearing Volkan Oezdemir forever. Oezdemir's only 33. Like these guys have been around for a while and they have like pretty much an even record in the UFC, both of them, like 9-7 for Krylov, I believe 6-5 for Volkan Oezdemir. Like they're definitely win, lose, beat a certain caliber of fighter, lose to another certain caliber of fighter at 205. And now they're matching up. I can see why you said at the top this is one of your favorite ones. And this is like stylistically, like I'm excited to see who looks better in this spot, and who they fight next, more importantly. So, yeah, I mean, who else we got here? We got my boys Preston and Tyler over at the Early Weigh-In podcast. Check out their breakdowns. They do weekly breakdowns as well. Very good in-depth breakdowns. Every single week they show up and release their bets. They said we're debating on tracking Oezdemir as well. Just got plus 158 a couple minutes ago. I got to say, I'd agree with that. I think there should be a closer fight to, 50-50. Yeah, so at least Sicky does MMA, agrees with Lou. At least we're reaching some sort of compromise here. So that's nice, you guys. And we got Mushroom spitting some Always Sunny in Philadelphia lines here. You got to pay the troll toll. Yeah, so moving on to the next fight here, this is a really fun one, and I do have a small... Actually, no, I've got a large bet on the money line and a small bet on a prop for this one. Kyle Borralho taking on Makhmud Muradov. This is at middleweight. Two guys that are kind of in their prime at middleweight right now. Both guys are pretty big for the divisions as well. 6'1" for Kyle Borralho, 6'2" for Makhmud Muradov. Kyle Borralho has slowly crept up as a sizable favorite in this spot. I know he was down around like the minus 190 mark, moved up to minus 225 on some books, and now settling around that minus 200. You can get plus 170, the underdog Makhmud Muradov, who's coming off of a rather long layoff as Muradov after that loss he suffered last year to Gerald Meerschaert by submission in a huge upset. So it's kind of like a club and sub submission loss. You see that trend continues with Makhmud Muradov losing 4 times by submission out of his 7 losses. Kyle Borralho, you would assume with all of his ground time, would have a chance to, get a submission here. He's not really doing that often, especially at the UFC level. We haven't seen it, but 3 submissions overall for Borralho. I couldn't help myself, but when I saw plus 550 for submission on FanDuel, I couldn't help but pick that. So I put a small sprinkle in that. But overall, at minus 200, I put a large money line bet on Kyle Borralho here, 3 units. And I think he gets the job done. Muradov, I don't know, man. He's just really not that good to me. He does have that early power, but we've seen Borralho deal with that before. So who are you on here? Do you see any value on Muradov?
I think you broke that down expertly. We agree 100% on not just the side, but on the prop.
Nice. You like that submission? I think it's like a long shot that he gets it, but it fits the win condition and the loss condition for Muradov, and he should have time to do it.
He almost had Godzi subbed. I don't know, like the Petrosyan rum ham.
I've done that before. I poured a bunch of like cruising rum on a ham, and it was delicious. And I was drunk.
Could he look? He got criticized pretty bad for the Petrosyan fight, for making it boring, for not really going for a finish. Like he's young. Don't think that doesn't creep into your head. Like he thinks
I had a lot of money on him, man. So I was very happy with the way he controlled that fight.
Of course. Oh my God. You're like
that turns into the most exciting fight. You're like, wow, this is great. This is spectacular.
Everybody's like, oh man, this is boring. You're like, keep him there. Don't do anything.
Do it.
Don't stand. And then they stood him up and he took him. He threw him right back down. So, but I do think now, like maybe he has a point to make. And Muradov, I'm with you. I don't think he's really good. I had Meerschaert in that fight, so that was like,
yep.
And I had a really irresponsible bet on that too, because like I just love GM3, like that's my dude. So, man, that was just so stressful. Like that, those first 3 minutes were just death. But I think Kaio can deal with like that early onslaught. I mean, he could take him down in 15 seconds, and it wouldn't be unrealistic to me if he just tossed him down immediately. And then Muradov, I don't know what he's going to do. Kaio gets on top of him or gets his back. He's done. The round's going to end in that position, or he's going to tap. So I don't trust his cardio. I don't think his striking is. I mean, he's got power. Okay, I would hope so. Like, but I don't think he's very technical, and I don't think his power carries past 3 minutes. So I'm with you, man. Everything you said,
I love that. I love that Mearshart fight last year. And Makhmud Muradov back in the Czech Republic used to do like gay porn. So after Gerald Mearshart, like after he subbed him, I texted Gerald because I know Gerald. And I hit him up. I said, "Well, of course you were able to, tap him out. He loves being choked." And I put,
did he really do gay porn?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he ever got like plowed in the ass or anything on camera, but he did do porn for a gay publication.
He did look Europe. Like somebody I saw on Ass Blasters 18.
Yeah. It's that's where you know him from, So
I think I bet on him, and I think I bet on him in that actually. I think I had him parlayed. I think I had him parlayed with Mr. T, Club Lang in Rocky 3. I think I had a 2-team parlay.
Oh my
God. It wasn't good. Don't parlay movie fights.
What do you think about the overs, the -115?
Well, what is that? Is that 2.5 or 1.5?
I believe it's got to be 1.5. Yeah. Oh,
is it?
Muradov, Borralho, the over 1.5 is -210. I'm seeing the under 1.5 at +170 for Makhmud Muradov and Caio Borralho. I mean, that's a tough one, man. I could see this ending very quickly, to be honest with you, just because Muradov could either go in for the kill early and then make a mistake, or go in for the kill and get the job done. I mean, slight chance of that, but it could happen.
It seems the numbers correlated to what they think Borralho's winning condition is, which is just control. But it's really hard to make that determination when, again, like I think Godsey was pretty tough to survive. It wasn't Caio fighting a boring fight in that first round. Like I don't know if you know, I got my guy Phoenix MMA. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he actually gave me a bet. He goes, "This is the exact second Caio's going to finish him," and I swear to God, he had him in like so much trouble at that very second. It was
really?
the most unbelievable goddamn bet I ever saw in my life. But I mean, he looked like he was like again. We don't know. We've only seen a couple. We have a limited sample size. Is Petrosyan like the outlier, or is the Godsey fight the like? I don't know. But what I do know about Muradov is I don't think he has the cardio to go 15 minutes.
But what do you think about the over 2.5, the alternate line at like -120, or the under 2.5 at -110? God, the under tricky, -110. But I would probably take, if you had a clear read on that, like I don't think it's all that likely that that Muradov gets that knockout, but I think that's his win condition. Whereas I think Borralho could finish him by knockout. I think he could finish him by submission. So I would take that under if you got the under 2.5 at -110, I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't be that confident in it either. Because like Lou's saying, you don't know if that control time is just going to be the path to victory here.
There's some yam bags in play here too, because Muradov, definitely looks like the kind of guy that.
Yeah. But I would certainly, I would take that under 2.5 at -110. I would not hate taking maybe a half a unit on that. At almost even money. But yeah, so moving on, that is going to be a fun fight, though. I'm excited to see Caio Borralho fight, and I'm glad he's been so active over the past year. This is like his fifth fight. This is his fifth fight in 13 months.
He fun to root for. He really is. Seems like a good. I mean, obviously, I don't like his life choices with the tattoos, but
he's like the nicest guy to like wear glasses and have a neck tattoo.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting. Oh shit, Mushroom has also seen that movie. Okay,
got finished it. All right, we got a very fun fight to close up the prelims up next. 22 live viewers in here. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I appreciate all of you spending the time with me and Lou, breaking down one of the best pay-per-views of the year, UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev in the main event. You haven't done any of those Bert impressions.
I mean, you gotta pick your spots, dude.
I want you to do this. Introduce this next fight. It's Bilal and Sean at 170. Can you do a Bert impression?
I guess I'm not like I'm not a trick pony here.
Yeah, that's why I have you. You are a trick pony.
Bilal Muhammad against Sean Brady at 170 pounds. I'm still trapped in my parents' closet right now.
All right, that's pretty good. I hope he's not trapped in his parents' closet. I hope to do a show with him at some point. But
look,
we do have Bilal Muhammad and Sean Brady. He's a construct
that was made. He was birthed specifically to give MMA picks on YouTube, and they just put the feeding it's like they have like the slot in the door.
Yeah, he feeds off the floor. Well, he does a good job of it, man. That would make sense because he puts out like 10 videos a day. But anyways, Belal and Sean Brady. Spoiler: I do have a bet on Belal Muhammad plus 195 by decision. I'm taking the underdog to get the job done here. I think he's got a very crafty way of moving around and going lateral movement on the edge of the cage, not letting people get in range to strike at him, threatening takedowns, eventually getting the takedowns, getting off enough significant strikes to like land optically for the judges. Belal is a crafty guy, and although I'm not a big fan of his, like as a fighter, as an exciting guy, I mean, the guy's actually been very good. 16 UFC fights, going 12-3 and 1 no contest in those. He's had a taste of the current champion right now, Leon Edwards, although he was losing that fight before the eye poke happened. Sean Brady, I'm somewhat impressed with, but again, he's kind of unproven as far as can he employ Belal Muhammad's game plan better than Belal Muhammad, who's done it over a range of opponents like Wonderboy Thompson, a really good mover he employed that game plan against, a good explosive striker in Vicente Luque most recently, over 5 rounds. So he's got cardio to employ his game plan, a very good takedown defense rating. I just think if Belal Muhammad, whose win condition is decision, right? And I can get it at plus 195, of course I laid down money on that. So give me Belal to win this fight the majority of the time. I mean, what do you think?
So this is tough for me because
Sean Brady's a guy from like your neck of the woods,
I mean, obviously I'm I got my Philly guy. He's undefeated.
Yeah, Prince of Mischief is saying right now, is Lou going to go against Philly?
And Belal came out today and said he hates Philly. He hates cheesesteaks. So he's been a very powerful enemy in this whole city of Philadelphia. So that being said, I am also on the Belal by decision side. I just feel like you look at Brady's resume, you look at some of the wins he's had. Honestly, I don't rate Chiesa as highly as most. I don't think his fight IQ is good. I mean, it's a good win, but it's not like a legendary win. The Jake Matthews win, yeah, it's aging well now, but honestly, Jake Matthews is a guy who really was only fighting like once every year and a half. So that was kind of a weird setup fight. And then, I mean, Court McGee is, look, you beat him by decision, a little older. It's tough. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to finish Brady here. I just feel like everything Brady does, Belal is a little better. I mean, the strength of schedule it's not even close. Like I just brought up Brady's side, but Belal, I mean, the Luque fight was great. Wonder Boy, look, was it the most exciting fight? No, but what was he supposed to do? He neutralized him and took him to the one area he knew he's going to win the fight, and he did it with ease. Luque, who's not awful.
I had the entire card, I think, parlayed, and that was the one fight I got wrong. Did pick Wonder Boy, and I was like, God damn it!
And Luque, who's like not awful on the ground. I mean, he's better in top position, but he's not awful off his back. Belal just made him look foolish, neutralized him completely. So, it's nice. There you go. We got another Always Sunny reference because we got D. Reynolds. Bird! Yeah. Got Bird! And
what's up, obnoxious American milk number 1? Always good to see you in here.
You bring up Ass Blasters 18. Here comes the porn comment.
Oh, yeah, there we are. So, my other sponsor. Here we are.
They come into our channel a lot. So for me, look, man, I mean, again, you're talking about Belal decision. That's his money line. Again, he's not getting to finish here.
That's why I was just like, okay, I could get Belal Muhammad at like plus 130, plus 125.
I actually think Belal's better on the feet. I think it's close, but Belal's better on the feet to me.
He's crafty. Like, he surprises people with his movement, and he kind of feints his way. Just outside of their movements, he never overreacts to shots coming his way.
And he never gets hit. He gets out of the way of everything. Like, I mean, look, the only guy that was really hitting him regularly, like Leon Edwards is a world-class. As world-class.
And now he's the champion, not much longer than that. So
I think Belal gets it done. Look, you could do the whole narrative side that like Belal Muhammad probably not losing a decision in Abu Dhabi. You could play that role if you wanted to, but I really just think he's going to win all 3 rounds. He's going to neutralize everything Brady does. I think the grappling's probably pretty close. I do, but I think Belal on the feet's going to be the better guy. It may not be the most exciting fight, but it's certainly interesting. But Give me Bilal Muhammad by decision.
Sean Brady is like, his striking seems to be there at times, but he's just so hesitant to let it go. Like, he'll feint a lot, and then like as soon as he's about to throw, he like his opponent moves, kind of throws him off. And I think Bilal is going to really be a guy who's going to throw off the timing of Sean Brady and make him even more hesitant.
So the other thing we haven't seen is this: Brady has been, if you look at his fights, he's always winning the first round. He's always winning the second round. I mean, the guy has, I'm not saying, this is not meaning he's coasting, but the guy has always been the hammer in his fights. I'm interested to see what happens if Bilal neutralizes him in the first round and this fight isn't really going his way. Does he have a plan B? If he can't get the grappling going, does he have a real plan B here against a very experienced and crafty veteran who, again, has looked so good against so much better competition?
And not even just better, but like what I like is the variety of opponents we've spoken about. They all fight differently. Bilal has done the same game plan and somehow flustered all of them. And I don't predict. And this is a guy who doesn't particularly like Bilal Muhammad. I think he's he's okay. I like winners. Though. So if you win,
you like making money. You like making money.
I'm on you, and I like it when they do it in a very predictable way by decision. So
I should also mention the last time I picked against a guy from Philly, I picked Court McGee to beat Jeremiah Wells. And that bet did not go very well.
No, did not.
And then I picked Sabatini over Damon Jackson, and that did not go well. So just letting you know, my last two picks with a Philly guy have gone pretty poorly. So maybe,
just to answer Prince of Mischief, Lou is going against Philly. And I got to shout out my guy, Dev the Dude, #1. Go follow him on YouTube. He does a great show with another guy on YouTube called Sell the Red. And they do early. I mean, they're like the first guys to break down anything. Like, they probably already have a fight breakdown for the fight night next week. So go check them out. They do phenomenal work, and they do live chats, and it's always super early. First ones to get breakdowns out on YouTube. It's I envy their work ethic for sure. So, yeah, man. Moving on to the main card of this pay-per-view, and this is like a pretty good women's fight to kick it off, I gotta say, because we got the queen gatekeeper of the women's flyweight division, Katlyn Chookagian. You got chooked, which means you just cashed another bet, Katlyn Chookagian by decision. It's something I've been riding for a while, and it's been working, and I think I'm hopping off of that now. I'm not saying I'm betting Manon Fiorot, who she's fighting, who is the favorite. But I just think that I need to abandon this strategy, because I think Manon Fiorot could actually give her trouble here. And I think Manon Fiorot is going to give Katlyn Chookagian trouble, not in the way that most people think, which is with the striking at distance. I think that's Katlyn Chookagian's game. What I want to see from Manon Fiorot is if she's athletic enough, fast enough, can work her way in range with combinations, back Chookagian up to the cage. And I think it might be more of a boring cage clinch, cage hugging affair for Manon Fiorot, and then maybe at the end of the round she can get Katlyn Chookagian down. I would like to see that. I don't want to see Fiorot striking with Chookagian at range. Maybe she wins that battle, but I want to see her mix in a lot of the clinch work. That's where she's a really good bully, and that's where she won't have to deal with somebody being bigger than her, taller than her. And I think Katlyn Chookagian, Lou, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this. Do you think her striking is somewhat improved? Like, I feel like it's a little bit more accurate as of lately. What do you think about this fight?
I don't think her striking's terrible. She just doesn't have any power. I mean, she's she's content to just sit on the outside and jab, or miss and convince the judges that she's hitting. Look, the one thing that I keep hearing people say is that Hebos took her down, and I get it. And Fiorot is certainly capable of that, but just because she's capable of it doesn't mean that's going to be her game plan. Fiorot seems to she wants to strike. That's how she wants to that's how she wants to fight. Now, Chookagian is, and as Mushroom, she is the pride of Quakertown, Pennsylvania, which is 15 minutes up the road from me.
Is that where the Quaker Oats guy is from?
No. Wilford Brimley is not from Quakertown, Pennsylvania. His name is Wilford Brimley, by the way.
Quakertown. Wilford Brimley, from
Quakertown
is movies.
Quakertown,
the diabetes guy.
Yeah, diabetes. Quakertown is a shithole. It is a complete awful town. It's gross. There's a lot of crime. She was smart to get the fuck out of there. But you live there, you're probably pretty tough. And she kind of reminds me of every bird that comes from the Quakertown area. So I think, look, she somehow pulls off win after win after win. She never does it impressively. Do I think Fiorot wins? Maybe, but these odds are crazy to me. I don't think Fiorot should be this big a money line favorite. I think she's definitely got a little more power, but I don't know that her technique is better. I mean, and then it comes down to optics. It comes down to, I mean, how many fights is Chookagian you think she lost, but she won because the judges thought she landed all these strikes she did. So I don't have a bet on this fight on a side, but this is the second of my split decision props that I have taken. This one's only plus 350 though. But this goes to decision. I mean, how often does this go to decision? 95% of the time. Chookagian's not finishing her. Look, let's put it this way. It's on the Chookagian side.
95%. Yeah, 90 to 95%. I would say for sure.
So you're playing
now,
Fiorot's.
but what I'm saying is I can't account for the unknowns because we've got Fiorot, who is what 4-0 in the UFC. She TKO'd her first two opponents. Bums. Tabitha Ricci, not a bum, but she was
short notice.
Short notice.
Short notice, sure.
And small, yeah. So she TKO'd Leonardo, I believe it was first. Tabitha Ricci next. Now she's had two decisions: Mayra Bueno Silva and what's her face, Jennifer Maia, right?
And Silva's tough as shit. Like,
yeah.
Silva's tough,
so this is a limited like sample size of opponents here to really go off of. Like, does she have that finish? Can she goes aggressively in combination? Like you said, like maybe the striking technique isn't any better for Fiorot, but she at least has diversity to her striking. She at least throws body kicks at the end of some of her combos. She comes in from different angles. She can switch stances if need be. So that opens up possibility for a finish because it's unpredictable. But the punch you don't see coming puts you out, durable or not. So
and then but on the flip side of that, talk about the things we do know. Chookagian's fought people that came in with wrestling game plans like Calvillo, like I can't remember if Antonia Shevchenko did, but like, you know, Jennifer Maia, like Borralho, like there's people that have tried to go grappling against her. Her takedown defense isn't horrible. It's just it's the optics of the Hebos takedown that like makes this look really bad.
That's true.
But if this stays on the feet, I think Chookagian could just like, I mean, I see Dev the Dude saying round 1 TKO. You want to bet that? I mean, God bless you, dude. Good luck. But
Dev the Dude, I mean, not only does he have a crazy work ethic, he puts out some very opinionated, very awesome takes, and they hit. I've seen him hit a lot of times too. So
as a guy who's
you and Dev would get along very well. Like
I've seen him in chat. Look, no, I'm saying this. I immensely respect having a strong take on a prop. Like that's my favorite thing to do. Like, and I got one coming up that you're gonna love. But
I hope so.
I could see Chookagian kind of staying out of trouble. If anything, if you like Fiorot that much, why not play around 3 KO? Like, I mean, you may as well go for the money. Like, go for like the big money. Because Fiorot's cardio looks pretty good. And so does Chookagian. So honestly, I see 15 minutes on the feet. I see Chookagian. We're gonna think it's 30-27 Fiorot, and then we're gonna see that split screen. You're gonna be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how is this not 30-27?
From Daz, the finish only. Decision no action. I mean, that would be perfect for anybody going against Chookagian. Decision no action.
But I think that line
look
is
and
like,
see what that is. It's minus 300. It's minus 300.
It's not unreasonable.
Not unreasonable, but yeah. Then you start like, you know, that's not unreasonable. But
I'm gonna bet the split decision because I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm gonna be rooting for Chookagian just for I can't bet against one Philly guy and then not bet. You know, I got to get somebody from the area. So
from what was it? Quakersville, Quakerstown? What would you say?
Quakertown. And it really is a shithole.
Yeah, it sounds it's always the towns that sound very peaceful that end up being the shitholes, isn't it?
It is like it's like in the middle of it's in the middle of a bunch of nicer towns. So it's like a travel hub. Like there's trains, there's buses, like it's a big travel, like a big hub to get everywhere else. And typically, like when you have an area that's a hub like that, like Norristown, Pennsylvania is the same way. Like they're shitholes. Like they're just awful looking. Like there's no investment into the town. Everything's run down. It's bad.
Yeah, we got areas like that over here for sure. Victor De Jesus saying it's minus 205 he got for Fiorot finish only. I have 10 units on it. Are you serious in that? I mean, I love that if you really did like max bet this prop in particular.
And Dev's saying round 1 is 8. I'm assuming that's round 1 KO. I mean, you could try the sub there, I guess, but that's not bad. Like, I mean, look,
FanDuel's on crack for making that line that low. I mean, that's true. So, I mean, I was talking to Liam Picks Fights about this on my stream last week, and he, we would go back and forth about props like you and I are doing, Lou, but I would go on and say, maybe you see like a like Caio Borralho by submission at plus 550. I saw in a book when most books it's like plus 300. And I would be like, oh, what do you think about that, Liam? Should I put like, 0.5 units, 0.2 units? And he's like, no, I put like a full unit or two on it because when you see it mispriced, you want to take advantage. Like, kind of what's your opinion on that? That's kind of what Victor De Jesus is doing here. Like he sees something super like unreasonable that might not come around again. He hammers it.
Absolutely. And look, we've seen this like every week. There's a mistake line. I mean, not like this, but like
nice.
Every one of these weeks, I think it was who's the guy that fought Hamdi that I hate?
Dontel Mays.
These books had Dontel Mays round 3 sub at like I think it was plus 11,000, and you're like, look, it's probably not going to happen, but you have to take it. Like you have to throw like $3-4 on it, $5 on it, right? Like you have to with a mistake line.
Right,
I think it was. The other day, I forget who it was. Oh, it was like Diakesi by submission against it was his last fight. Diakesi by submission was like plus 6,800 on BetMGM. It's like, oh my god, like you have to take it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I know, but they're just baiting you, and I'm like, I don't care. And then they fixed the line like 2 hours later. You're like, all right, I'm locked in. Like fucking threw $20 on it to win 1,300. If that hits, your day's good. You hit one of these mistake lines. So it's like always shop around these different books. Like you'll see mistake lines like time to time. And I don't think this is a total mistake line. I think this is just bad judgment that they set it that low. That's a pretty good look.
One thing I forgot to mention.
If Chookagian finishes her, like, I give up.
Yeah, that would just be it's like, I think I've heard you say this before, or I don't know, but it's just like, it's either going to be Chookagian decision or like, does that mean it's time for there to be a change? Maybe it's time for her to get an inside the distance. We forgot about a comment from Nicholas Lee asking about a parlay here. Parlay of the main card entirely. Oliveira Makhachev over 2.5.
Ooh.
I do like that. I do agree with that. Sterling, that's risky. I think Dillashaw is live.
Can you parlay? Does your book let you parlay these like the 2 legs of one fight though?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean,
you could do a same game. Happening. You could do a same game on DraftKings and
the over 4.5. The over 4.5, I do like. Sean O'Malley, we're getting dicey there. Mateusz Gamrot, I think I like that, and of course Bilal Muhammad. So yeah, we're looking at the Sterling ones are kind of dicey. I'd say Sean O'Malley. I like that you're beefing up that parlay, but I do think Sean O'Malley has a better chance than his money line indicates for sure. But good luck on that parlay. If that pays out, you better come back in the chat and report back if you win that one.
That first leg is interesting, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. But we got to move right along to. This is one of my favorite fights in the main card for sure. Mateusz Gamrot taking on Beneil Dariush. We talked about this on the intro about how pivotal of a moment this is for the lightweight division because Beneil Dariush has silently racked up a huge win streak, and he's always underrated in the UFC. Once again, he's going to be an underdog in this bout pretty sizably. What are we looking at, like plus 160 or something for Mateusz? For Beneil Dariush. I know he's kind of climbed up because the line on Mateusz Gamrot keeps going up. We're looking at minus 190, plus 165 with Gamrot as the favorite here. I got a money line bet on Mateusz Gamrot as well. I do like him to win this fight. I think it is a close fight, though. I think it's competitive. I think it goes kind of, of course, you got the experience for Beneil Dariush. He's got like 20 UFC fights. I think I'd give the BJJ to him just because we've seen it used at the high level the most. But Mateusz Gamrot, we're looking at a guy who is so fast, can mix up the targets with the striking, go for that low single leg takedown, dive right back to cracking his opponents on the chin. I like his ability to really throw people off, kind of like Bilal Muhammad, but like on fast forward in a way. And we've seen Mateusz Gamrot do this for a 5-round fight most recently. So he's got the cardio. Beneil Dariush has some powerful striking, as we've seen, some highlight reel knockouts over Holtzman and Drakkar Klose, but those shots are not like, something he can rely on. They're like these wide looping southpaw strikes that just happen to hit the target when his opponents did not expect it and he was hurt, especially that Drakkar Klose comeback. I do like Mateusz Gamrot. Give me your opinion on this fight. Are you excited for this one?
Yeah, we talked pre-show. This is, I think, the highest stakes outside a title fight. I mean, like, this is super high stakes. And Dariush, look, man, it was going to be him against Makhachev. Like this was the path. And if Dariush would have beaten Makhachev, he would be fighting for the title. This was the path. My buddy Tommy and his son Tommy Jr. are like massive Dariush fans. I think part of it is he asked for a car. but like he's a massive Dariush fan.
They're big Holland fans too, right?
Oh man, you see him like yeah. There's pictures of his son choking me out. Like whenever we like go to the
No, I mean you told me about this before.
Oh yeah, they're fun. So so I think Dariush is like criminally underrated. He's tough. His grappling's good, but he doesn't do a lot on the ground with volume. And I think this is a bad matchup for Dariush. He hasn't fought in a while. He's coming off an injury. Man, Gamrot's looked so good, man. Like this guy's a killer. Like, look, Scott Holtzman is kind of,
yeah, they both cracked him, both finished him.
Like, and losing to Kudalatse is not like there's no shame in that loss.
Mm-hmm. Very close one, too. Very close one.
Jeremy Stevens, I mean, look, Stevens is washed up, but again, you do what you're supposed to do. You mop the floor with him. The Diego Ferreira fight is great. And the Tsarukyan, look, again, you could argue that we live in a weird world where, like, look, man, Tsarukyan wins that fight. Is he fighting, like where is he now? Is he is he the next challenger? Like, we don't know. But if Gamrot finishes Dariush here, which I'm telling you right now, he is very, very live to do.
I think so as well. Yeah.
Then he's got to be now we got Volk is going to be the next challenger, but so is he one fight away still? Or does he just say, look, man, I should be next?
Gamrot inside the distance plus 250. Gamrot by knockout plus 500. I would leave the door open on this one, honestly, because you could have a Jeremy Stevens type of situation, right? Where even though Dariush is good on the ground, if he's half brain dead and knocked out, that club and sub could be live.
And not only that, but like, look, we don't know. We're not going to really know how Dariush's leg is. And it could be a situation where it's like a corner, like it might be, he might have to tap. It might be like he just gets in a compromising position and the leg's just not holding up. We really don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't want to see a fight end like that, but but the KO seems to certainly be, look, if he pulls a Victor Henry, I mean, like,
yeah, Prince of Mischief saying, imagine if Gamrot pulls a Victor Henry. I need more info before putting my money on him. Look, I completely agree in a lot of aspects, and there's going to be some fights up on the next 3 top fights in the pay-per-view where it's like, look, I might have to lay off because I need more information on the fighter. I don't hate that take at all. You want to bet on things that you have a clear read on. Not just sometimes you can make these reads. We have to do that as sports bettors and especially content creators. We got to make that prediction is what we're paid to do, basically, for our betting.
You get paid.
You can see. Yeah, I get paid. I win bets all the time, man. Winning 8 out of the last 9 weeks, of course.
Oh, I thought you meant paid by YouTube. We barely get paid.
No, I don't get paid anything. I do this for the love of it. But you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can make those projections and you can see something, a hole in one weakness, a strength in the other guy. But there are some spots in this card where I just want to sit back and just watch and learn. So nothing wrong with that, Prince of Mischief, at all. But yeah, so are you on? Do you got any bets in this fight? Are you on that inside the distance at plus 250?
I'm on both. I haven't bet straight and I haven't bet in the distance.
Okay, I just have the money line straight as well.
I haven't parlayed with the next fight.
All right. Well, all right. We're on the same side of that. But if Dariush wins this fight, how do you see it going down? Is what I would want to ask to close this.
He would have to neutralize him on the ground. I think if it stays in the feet, it's pretty close. But I really think that Dariush, I don't want to say would take the route he took with Tony Ferguson, but top control, neutralize him. Again, he doesn't throw a lot of strikes, but he really could just, if Gamrot has a problem getting out of Dariush's top control, I think he could just win minute after minute after minute. He could advance going for submissions, whether or not he locks it in. But I think that's his path. I think if it's on the feet, it's still pretty close. But Gamrot has some sneaky striking, and his single leg takedown is like, I think he's pulled it off in every single fight he's been in. Like,
yeah, he pulls it off, and like sometimes he goes for it without even like
there's no setup.
Yeah, well, no setup, but not even attempting to like continue with it. Like he's like, oh, I'm just like he's just fucking with people sometimes. Like, he goes down and then he pops right back to his feet and starts striking, and they're like, what the hell is happening? And that's how he knocked out Scott Holtzman. Scott Holtzman's like, I don't know if he's gonna go for my ankle again or if he's gonna punch me in the face, and he got knocked out.
Yeah, so if Dariush can kind of avoid that and just keep it on the feet and make it close, or just top control, that's his path here. I would say this right now. I think he's going to get some love. I think the line's going to get some buyback on him. So I may
increase. As it maybe should, honestly, because if you look at just the level of experience, you know what I mean? All the fights that Dariush has had, I think.
But I may improve
closer.
I may add to my position if this thing goes back, if it goes down to like 170, lower. I could certainly be tempted to add to it here.
Yeah, I agree, but we're both on the same side of that one. Now we're moving on to the top 3 fights of the card. Moving on to Petrosyan versus Sean O'Malley at bantamweight. We got 25 of you live viewers. Thanks for rocking with us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Subscribe to the MMA Engine, who LouBetya is representing. Very fine work over there. One of the fastest growing YouTube channels with all sorts of content to make you money. And Lou, I want you to start this one off for Petrosyan and Sean O'Malley. Talk about the money line. Talk about the overs and unders, and let me pull those up right now and see what they currently are at. We are looking at Sean O'Malley. I mean, speaking of buyback on the line, I mean, we're looking at Sean O'Malley fans kind of lowering this thing. So we got Petrosyan right around minus 265 to minus 275. Sean O'Malley could be at from plus 225 to plus 235 as an underdog. And the overs are around minus 220 for the over 2.5. What do you think about this one?
I mean, look, let me just preface it. I'm just not an O'Malley fan. Like, I'm not a fan of his. I'm a fan of like the character. Like, I'm a pro wrestling fan. Of course, I'm a fan of the character. But in terms of his skill set, I mean, who's he beating, dude? He's beating weird. He's beating bums, man. And like, he wasn't beating Munoz at that point. Look, could he have beaten him? Sure, but he wasn't winning that fight. Munoz looked all right. I thought Munoz won the first round. Two of the judges agree with me.
I think 19 leg kicks were landed in that first round alone.
I don't know, just something about O'Malley. Like, thank you all O'Malley bettors for driving this line down. This is excellent.
Yeah, it's looking better.
You're giving me Jan. I can make it. I mean, Jan. Like, again, take the Sterling fights out because he won the first one. I don't care. I mean, yeah, DQ. He won the first one.
Yeah, sure.
The second fight's debatable. Look, I'm not here to argue. Like, I had it for Jan. It's fine. I'm not here to argue that. But this is a huge step down because Sterling, at least where it doesn't have power on the feet, then like a ton of like power on the feet, at least has enough to threaten and then has the grappling to back it up. O'Malley is going to be pretty limited here. I can see Jan, and like there's a narrative, he always takes the first round off. But that's because like his last 900 fights have been 5 rounds. Like go back to some of his 3-round fights. He doesn't necessarily take the first round off. And I could see a world here where he goes to takedowns early and often. And I took a shot on his submission at plus 1,200. I know he doesn't have a sub since 2015. I understand it. O'Malley did some grappling back in 2019.
He guillotined Takanori Gomi.
Yeah, but look, I don't know that he has the grappling chops here against Jan, who I think is sneaky underrated on the ground. He just doesn't really want to go to it. Like, he didn't go to it against Sanhagen, but he can. And we don't know anything about O'Malley's get-up game, about how he's going to look. And so who's to say he gives... So at plus 1,200, yes, it's a flyer. But you know what else is a flyer, Pat? Sadiq Youssef by submission was a fucking flyer.
Oh, that was nasty. What happened there, man? Yeah, that was nasty. You led with that one. You and Narco Cop. That was awesome.
Like, and what happened there? Like, I mean, it hit.
30 seconds is all it took. Cashed it.
Now I'm big on the onside here. He's the parlay I have with Gamrot.
What about the overs? What about the over 2.5 at like minus 200 or more?
I mean, I don't like this kind of bets. Like, I don't even love betting. I don't even like a 2-team parlay with minus odds.
Just do you think? Let me ask you a question. Not even betting wise. Do you think this goes to the decision if Jan wins? Or do you think he gets him out of there? Like at a high enough, like minus 200. Of course, 66% implied. Do you think that is a fair price, or would you change that line? Do you think it would be? Are
we getting more Jan? Because if we are, I think like I said, if it hits the ground, he has a tremendous advantage and the finish is very live. If this thing stays on the feet for 15 minutes, strangely enough, that's where I think it goes the distance, because I think they can neutralize each other. I think O'Malley's striking. Look, his striking is good. He's got decent power, but I also think that Jan is just works the body better than. I mean, O'Malley's he's just a headhunter. Like, for the most part, O'Malley is just a total pure.
And like you mentioned, the durability, the get up game, of course, and the ground stuff is like an unknown for O'Malley. But The durability is certainly an undecided thing for O'Malley as well. We don't know if he's going to take a shot to the chin and he's going to wear that well or not. I just don't think he's going to get hit that much in this fight, and I worry that Jan is going to feel like he's being very competitive in the striking, even though it might be sort of even with all of those strange laser beam, sniper type shots from O'Malley on the outside. Maybe Jan is getting the better of the shots, but he's falling behind on the numbers. I worry about that in this fight. One prop that I do like is that, buying around for O'Malley here, that plus 3.5 points at minus 105, just for him to get one round. If he gets that first round from Petrosyan, or a judge gives him another round and says he gets the significant strike totals. I like that, but I don't know if Jan's going to take that path of least resistance and go for the wrestling. I don't know if he does. I think he's going to be like in that championship mindset where he's like, look, I'm getting the better of these striking numbers. I'm getting the better shots, and maybe he falls behind. I worry about that, So what about the Jan? Bet Online has this one, the significant strikes. The Petrosyan, the under 74.5 significant strikes landed. Do you think he lands that many over a 3-round fight?
No.
That's at minus, what is that at? I saw that. I wrote that down because I knew it was something like playable. It was like even money.
No, because the two.
Yeah, minus 115 for the under 74.5 significant strikes.
Because again, if I'm scripting the way I think this fight is going to go, and it involves him getting some ground control and takedowns, he's not he's really not going to be. Look, I'm not saying he's not going to ground and pound him, but if he gets O'Malley in that position, how many strikes does he need to put him away? Not going to hit him 74 times and not get him out of it. So it's interesting. The other thing that makes this interesting, and I have to just talk to O'Malley's career, the Chito Vera fight, injury. The Sukumantov fight, he was compromised. The Munoz fight, Munoz gets compromised. So a lot of his fights, everybody wants to play these overs, but if you look at O'Malley's career, he's had a lot of unders by weird circumstances.
That's true. That's very true.
The Sukumantov fight went the distance. I know that. But
it should not have at all. Yeah.
If Sukumantov had any fight IQ, he would have beat him, but he didn't.
That was the legendary Joe Rogan had to interview him upside down on his back, which
is funny as shit. Of course, but he's had some interesting circumstances, and so I can't rule it out. Look, people where everything's a thing. You know what I mean? It's never just straightforward. Some of your friends, everything's a goddamn thing. I feel like O'Malley's one of those dudes. Everything's a goddamn thing.
Like the guy who you no matter when you go out with this guy, it's going to be just a whole event, a whole crisis. Is that what you mean?
It's it's dude, come on. Can we just get a couple drinks? Everything's a goddamn thing. So sometimes I feel
I don't have one of those. I'm starting to think it might be me.
Oh, it's good. I like the Propaholic guys. Me and him didn't even talk about that one, but he hopped on that one too. 2,600 is an insane.
Oh, what's up, MMA Propaholic? Yeah,
that's an insane price.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So I'm just saying, be careful with the time props here because again, O'Malley he has this history of being in weird fucking fights, where eye pokes happen. Look, and this is a Yambag fight. I may as well take a poke on the Yambags this too.
You probably should.
So O'Malley's becoming a
and the size difference here with those, there's going to be a ton of lead leg side kicks on both guys, but mostly O'Malley. There's going to be the teep kick that who knows where that's going to land. Jan's probably going to try to leap out of range of the teep kick, and it's going to go right into his yams. So I like this for a Yambags play. I think there's a lot of different kicking angles here, switching stances.
I got it. Yan bags, right? I should have just said yan
bags.
Exactly. I missed the easy. That was a layup, man. Oh
well. So we're both on the Jan side here pretty confidently, but for me, I've seen O'Malley decision as high as plus 460. I do like that buying around for O'Malley, that plus 3.5 points for O'Malley at minus 105. And I like the oddball prop of the under 74.5 significant strikes for Jan at minus 115. I like all of those here. They don't indicate a winner, but I do think Jan wins this fight. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, Aljamain Sterling, the reigning defending champion at bantamweight, against the guy in TJ Dillashaw who never actually lost his bantamweight strap. It was robbed. He was robbed of that belt, so this guy never actually lost his belt from anybody besides USADA, who caught him with a very odd and very rare substance in his bloodstream. He got popped for erythropoietin or EPO. That's a very difficult thing to test for. It's a very difficult thing to trace. So whenever they catch you with that, they're like, we don't know how many times we didn't catch you because this is rare that we catch anybody. So they laid the hammer down on him. He comes back after a 3-year-long layoff or so against Sandhagen, who is a top guy and kind of like a much younger, fresher guy, and he looks decent. You know, some people argue if he won that fight or not. It was very close, but looked decent. So I like his chances here. I do have a money line bet on Dillashaw. I think he has a style that will really give Sterling some trouble here, unless Sterling can be that human backpack and find his way onto the back of Dillashaw for 3 rounds out of 5. I don't think at the odds, I don't think I'm going to take that. I want to take that plus money on Dillashaw. I got him at like +1. I want to say +155 at the top end. So I did put 1 unit to win 1.55, and I do like that bet. I think this goes over more than not, though, but I think Dillashaw is live for a finish here. What do you think about this co-main event, Lou? And shout out to all 34 of you guys watching live. We're finally into the championship bouts. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Pop off in the comments. Lou, tell me your thoughts on this bantamweight championship fight.
So I think you and I talked about this. I want to say all the days are blending together, but like Sunday night, late night, whenever we were talking, Sunday, Monday, I forget when we were talking about this. But I told you my strategy on this fight. You broke it down perfectly, so I don't need to really add. Dude, you break down everything perfectly. I'm just here.
Add to it. Oh, thank you.
I'm here for comedy. Like I know I'm here for comedy.
Right, then do the Burt intro for this fight again. Do
no. I got the main event coming up with a harder name. So my intention is not to bet this fight pre-fight. My intention is to see how the first round goes. I'm never betting Sterling like live because you can't justify the price. Because to do it, you would really need him to come back. But Dillashaw, is very intriguing here as a live bet. If Sterling backpacks in the first round but really doesn't do any damage, what's Dillashaw going to be after round 1? 350?
I don't know. I can't predict that one. The live odds are always.
He's probably going to be. It's probably going to be if he shows no. If he just gets taken down and does nothing, he's probably going to be +400. If it's competitive, he'll still be plus money. He'll just be down a round. So what I want to see is this. Here's what we know.
Okay, back that up though. If Aljamain Sterling gets him down like first takedown attempt, controls him the whole time, just nullifies him, then I think it would be a crazy odds that you could get on Dillashaw for sure.
So what do we know? And what do we don't? So Sterling, we know that he tends to fade, but he looks great early. We also know that, dude, you're from Long Island, Propaholic? I fucking grew up in Long Island. So Sterling always looks pretty good early, and then he gasses a little bit. Now, it's because of the pace. We've never seen Dillashaw gas, and we've also seen Richard Grieco. What a great name. We've also seen Dillashaw was against Borralho. I forget. He like barrages him in the 4th or 5th round. Like
I was there for that. That was awesome.
Okay. Was that the 5th round?
Like, it was round. The 4th. I want to say it was round. I think it was round 5. I think it was one of those rare round 5 finishes. I was there. I don't remember it.
So Dillashaw come on strong. Look, he's older. He's coming off an injury. I get it.
Yeah, it was round 5. Round 5, right before that over 4.5 hit. It was 2 minutes 22 seconds in round 5.
So I want to get better odds in a fight where I think Sterling wins the first round the majority of the time. That is the way I'm approaching this. But I'm taking a shot on Dillashaw round 4 and round 5 as well at crazy ass odds because I think you have to. And if Sterling does win the first 3 rounds, I think Dillashaw can. I think he can know.
That's one of my concerns. That is one of my concerns is the cardio. We just saw No Love actually. Shout out to No Love. Pop it in the comments. Sterling gassed out after round 3. Yeah, that's kind of one of my things here. We know Dillashaw's got that cardio.
But he's older, but he's getting older too, and that's what you worry about.
Yeah, but we know that not that Sterling doesn't have the cardio to go late, but sometimes he burns that fuse out early in the fight. I do like that round 4 and round
2,800 and 3,500 on my book for round 4 and 5. I'm not going to get greedy with the KO here. I don't see a reason there's no reason to get greedy at this number.
Yeah, but especially when it's something you at least backed it up with like something that's happened before. You know, he has finished fights late and come back in that a couple of times before.
And even though it's not on record, Sterling probably getting finished in the 4th or 5th.
Yeah, right.
against
That
Jan.
was not going in a good direction. Yeah.
So I don't see why it's not like, I know like FanDuel does those groupings, like you can do like round 3, 4, 5, or however they do it. DraftKings does it like 3, 4, 5 decision. It depends on your book. Take a look. But honestly, I don't mind. I'll just take round 4 and round 5 and cut it down. I may even take a poke on round 3. I think it's 2,200. It's 2,200 here. So it's not bad, but I would rather play the late round props. But also, like I said, and look, if Sterling just blows him out or is dominating him and actually landing a lot of punches, then I didn't lose any money. I'm never getting to Sterling in this spot, but I can get to Dillashaw. Even at the current price, I like it, but I really like it at like over. The worst you're going to get is +3 something after round 1. It's the worst you're going to get. Unless he wins.
Stylistically, I think what people are most intrigued by is, the TJ Dillashaw wrestling. Not always favors going to it, but how that wrestling and takedown defense is going to fare against Aljamain Sterling, who, wants to get the fight to the pure jiu-jitsu side of things and seems to be pretty effective at backpacking. How effective do you think the takedown defense from Dillashaw is going to be in this fight? Do you think he's going to be able to keep this on the feet, or is that just like a big unknown in this fight? How do you see that playing out as far as the wrestling goes?
It's hard to say because I think Sterling's wrestling is so good. I really do. I think he's slick.
He's really slick.
He's really slick, and he's going to have, his length is good, and he knows how to use it well. He knows how to get himself. But Dillashaw is just like, the question is, Dillashaw's kind of, he's like an asshole, and I mean this as a compliment. Where like you throw him down and just like, it's like, get the fuck off me, and like he's like, let's go. So I wonder, like, and look, we talk, Sterling's cardio always comes up. If Sterling keeps taking him down and Dillashaw keeps getting up, what's Sterling going to look like in round 2?
Yeah, and that's a question.
Is he going to get frustrated? I mean, not only that, like it's a mental thing on top of just because Dillashaw is going to, he just gives no fucks, man. Like Dillashaw is going to be there at the end, like, let's go. So I love the late round props here, but that's the way I'm going to attack this live bet spot for me.
I like it, man. I like it. So you're targeting specifically that after round 1 or after round 2? Like, do you think that big drop off might be after round 1? Because Sterling will look his best, to look the most energetic. He might have success early, and you could probably.
What if Dillashaw wins round 1?
Okay, when you do a live bet, what I do when I do live betting is I have like, I don't do it on the fly. Usually I'll have like notes in front of me. Like I want a specific number or more. I have a round I'm looking for to hammer it. And I have like the person I want to live bet. Do you just kind of go,
No, I've scripted.
Yeah. So yeah,
you have look, you have to, for 2 reasons. Number 1, you're playing a long-term game with your bankroll. You have to script it. Number 2, and this goes definitely for you and maybe for people in chat. You and I are probably fucked up drunk at this point.
That's the issue. That's why I don't live bet a lot of the time.
That's why you script it. You script the amount, you script when to do it, and you follow. Look, I have notes on my sheets that say, my name's Rob. And it's not like a big secret, but like, Rob, don't be an asshole. Like my notes are literally like, I'm cursing at myself. Like, it's one of those, like, you watch a video of yourself, you're like, if you're watching this, like, you married, God, why can't I think of her name from Parks and Rec? You married Tammy again, Ron. Like, if you're watching this, you married her again. Here's what you do. So, like, for me, it's like under no circumstances, don't play blackjack. Don't bet more than this. Only bet this number. Like, I give myself instructions to where I'm drunk and I'm like,
see, I'm impressed that you follow.
I'm like,
those.
oh my God,
I wouldn't follow those instructions. I just have to just lay off of the betting when I'm drinking. I just don't do that anymore.
It's like, it feels like a smarter person than me wrote them when I'm drunk. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking genius. Like, I'm listening to him.
Yeah, Nicholas Lee says I need to watch this when I watch the fights against Stone. Yeah, Lou's given some very good life advice here.
I mean, look, people I've seen like bet like NFL football and you're drinking with the boys all day. You're having a really bad day. You're chasing losses and you get to the night game. They're like, fucking, I'm betting $1,000. Like, dude, bad decision. Like, and people that chase in the main events of these things, like, look, man.
Yeah, it's just rough, man.
If you stick to a game plan, again, it's a long-term thing in this game. Like, don't compromise your role because you're down. Especially because like
the Barca fan 57 saying Dillashaw round 5, 4-5 or decision. Yeah, just like that combo prop.
And like, look, unlike like I'm betting, I'm betting, I bet soccer, I'm betting college football, and I'm betting NFL football. So for me, as much as I love MMA, like these are all pieces of like a weekend equation. And I got NBA, so like, I'm doing DraftKings shit. So like, it's all about balance. Like, you just follow the script, and long term, if you trust yourself and you have a good plan, you'll be all right. So I'm not saying, and don't stop drinking. The drinking's the fun.
Yeah, the drinking has to continue. That's all part of it, especially for this fight card, man. And stateside, this is going to be, right in the afternoon. You can really start pre-gaming for this main card and, have a fun after party. And moving on to the main event of the pay-per-view, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev for the vacant lightweight championship. 31 of you guys still hanging out with us in the live chat. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much. Then make sure you follow my guy LouBetya on Twitter and the MMA Engine on YouTube. You will not regret it. And
Lou, on the gram, apparently.
On the gram. Yeah. I'm going to give you the honor of kicking this one off. I know we spoke about this fight maybe a little bit before, but not at length at all. This is as polarizing of a fight as you get in Abu Dhabi Fight Island on Saturday. We have Islam Makhachev, who is now.
I thought you wanted me to say it.
No,
I thought you wanted me to do it.
I am. I'm just giving you the odds. Yeah, we're looking at like minus 180 Islam Makhachev. Charles Oliveira about plus 155 at this point. The over and under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 at plus money, plus 125. The under minus 155. Take it away, Lou. What do you feel about this one?
Charles Oliveira against Islam Makhachev in the 155-pound division.
It's like my original guest is here. This is making my day.
I'm so mad that you almost got him. I'm so glad that he didn't come on your show. No offense.
You motherfucker.
Maybe I'm the one. Maybe he's in my basement.
I got stood up.
He's in the basement with Brady, where I had Brady trapped last week. So I've gone back and forth on this one. I'm not gonna lie, and
so have I, and I think so is everybody. That's.
So I see CJP saying Charlie in the distance. Before I get to my pick, I want to say this: there's no reason to pick him in the distance. I have him plus 160 money line. He's in the distance is plus 180. Look, man, I got burned on that fucking Ngannou fight when he won by decision. Because I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take him in the distance, and it was like a 15-cent difference, and I'm like, yeah, but it's gonna happen, and then it didn't. I'm like. So I'm just saying, like,
is it really not that much of a difference? I can't believe I don't know this.
I saw on DraftKings it's plus 160 and plus 180. 160 money line, 180 in the distance.
Yeah.
So
that's a bait, but I mean,
so I'm hesitant to give you a pick. I'm going to tell you what my pick is right now. I'm going to tell you what it is right now, but it may change. That's what I'm worried about. So I thought this was a smash spot for Makhachev at first. I'm like, man, he's going to take him down. He's going to neutralize him. He's going to be capable enough on the feet. And then you and I talked about this too, where I said, look at the guys that Oliveira's facing. He's facing like badass strikers that are limited as strikers in that, they have wrestling. Like Chandler has wrestling. Poirier has. They don't use it. These aren't guys that want to use their wrestling. These are guys that want to stand and bang. Whereas now you get a whole different kind of fight. But now I'm looking at this kind of the other way, where I'm like, but I mean, look, we're content creators and we're handicappers to an extent. And like we give our breakdowns on fights, but we're also fans. And I'm a fan of Oliveira. I love watching the guy fight. I love the story of Charles Oliveira, where he's come from years ago to now. Like we have seen this dude literally beat every single person in the division to even get this far. He got his title stolen from him. Can't tell me otherwise. The whole half-pound thing is fucking horse shit.
That whole story before the fight where like the news broke that he missed weight and he said his family was calling him like, Daddy, did you really lose the championship? And he's like, I gotta win it back.
You think if like John Jones was a pound over or Kamzat, like all these dudes Dana White loves, like you think they're taking the title? No, dude, they're not. Like the whole thing's ridiculous. He's still the champion. The price is crazy. I mean, like the sitting champion, again, he's the champion as far as I'm concerned.
All right.
What's up, Brady? The sitting champion at plus 160. I know Brady's on Makhachev here.
Oh, what's going on, Brady?
Still go watch a show, but still, he's got Makhachev. I just don't know yet. Now, the one bet I do like that you and I believe discussed is over 1.5, which is minus 155. I don't think this is a quick finish, dude. I do like that.
I do like that.
I think this is a war. I think this is going to be a war. And the thing is if there is a lot of grappling here, don't you think this actually could end up being like a weirdly boring fight for the first 5-10 minutes? Like, because they're so equal, like, because they're so good and they're so afraid of making a mistake, which is the big thing here. The over 2.5 is plus odds. I love that too, but 1.5 at minus 155, dude. I mean,
nobody wants to embarrass themselves at this point early.
But like, but this is just like, these aren't guys that get finished that quick. And I get it. Like, you're playing it like there's a mental thing here too. Everybody wants to bet a main event under, man. Of course you do. Like, that's what people want. Like, dude, in football, that's why overs are overpriced, because nobody wants to clench their butt cheeks for 3 hours and root for an under. That's what they do at fights too. They're like, well, everybody just wants to root for the under. It's like, yeah, and that's why they price it the way they do. This over 1.5 it's crazy mispriced to me, and I'm all for it. As far as my side, it's Wednesday. I'm leaning Oliveira. No play at the moment. I just don't know. But the over 1.5, I have already bet.
I like that. And you said minus 160?
Minus 155.
Minus
which is crazy.
That's insane. Yeah,
what do you have it on your book?
No, I saw it at minus 160 initially, and I've seen it move all the way up to like minus 175 on some books, but it's kind of a mix. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been on the Charles Oliveira money train from Kevin Lee. I started with Kevin Lee, then went to Tony Ferguson, then went to Chandler's an underdog, Poirier an underdog, Justin Gaethje slight favorite. This is the time I finally hop off the Charles Oliveira money train. You know, this is the time. I don't want to do it. I'm rooting for Charles Oliveira, but I just have trouble betting against the style of Islam Makhachev. One thing that I do not like about all of the Oliveira fights as of recently, besides maybe save the Justin Gaethje fight this May, is he is losing the fight until he wins a lot of the time. He's not winning minutes. He's getting cracked on the chin, whether he's really getting hurt or he's flopping to guard to try to bait, Dustin Poirier in, who knocked him down like twice. Chandler clearly had him hurt in round one. I just don't like that he's losing this fight until he's winning. I don't think that does well against the style of Makhachev. Like, you could very well have an instance where you have Charles Oliveira gets, Islam Makhachev does go to his guard, right? And just hangs out on top, stays chest-to-chest pressure, wins minutes, and everybody's like, who's got a Charles Oliveira ticket is like, oh, here it is. He's in his wheelhouse. He's going to throw up a triangle. He's going to get a Kimura. He's going to sweep him. He's going to do all these things, and then the round doesn't happen. Then the round ends. Then the same thing happens in round 2 and round 3. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be in that position. So I'm finally taking my money that I won on Oliveira. I'm packing it away for another day. I think Makhachev does get this done. I think he gets it done probably. I'm liking the over 1.5. I'm also liking the fight doesn't start round 4, obviously. So Oliveira never been to a round 4, even though he's been scheduled for many 5-round bouts. His cardio, late round championship cardio, is still in the question, So Makhachev, I'm pretty sure, has solid cardio, just the way they train, the type of training camp he's based around. One of those unknowns, right? You've got that gap. Nobody wanted to fight Islam Makhachev in the top 10 for a while now. Now he's in a championship spot. I'll give the experience. I'll give the BJJ. I'll give the technical striking on the feet to Oliveira. But the minute winning and scoring rounds, I'm going to give to Makhachev, and I'm going to take him to win.
Did you just say you don't like it to hit the 4th?
I don't like it at the 4th, no.
So,
and that's based purely off of like the unknown cardio of Oliveira, the trends of both guys to really not go to that 4th round. That's all I'm basing that off of, especially the Oliveira side. He's been to 4 decisions out of 44 bouts.
How about this for a prop? The fight to end in the 3rd round, and then you don't care who wins.
Yeah,
it's 6-1, plus 600 for that.
Oh, and here's Brady with the Islam round 3. I've seen him predicting that.
I just saw a tweet that Brady joined TikTok. Brady is. I am not very. I am no longer pleased with Brady. Him and I are going to have a serious.
Dude, me and Brady are going to be dancing on TikTok, doing little memes and shit. It's going to be awesome.
Him and Clint, look, man. Again. Maybe when I'm 70 and you guys are in your 40s or whatever, I forget how old I am at this point. When you guys are in your 40s and whatever the new thing is, like Ganip Ganop or whatever fucking shit people invent,
write that down.
It's ping pong backwards. Ganip Ganop. It's like the new video things, like holographs. You guys are gonna see this. What's up, Alex? You guys are gonna say these goddamn kids over and over again, and you're going to be like, Uncle Lou was goddamn right. And at that point,
it now.
But at that point, when I'm like old, I'm gonna be like, that's my grandson. Like, yeah, Ganipkina. My grandson got me on Ganipkina, but now I'm, part of this thing because it's the way the age cycle works.
It sure is.
You have grandkids. Well, I assume I'm not a grandparent, so I don't fucking know. But you have grandkids. All of a sudden,
I only have one son right now. My illegitimate son Hasbulla. That's my son. I was on a business trip 20 years ago in Dagestan, and I met a lady of the night. I told this to Johnny K.
A lady of the night. You're so.
I met a lady of the night, and I had a couple of wines. She had a couple of wines. One thing led to the inevitable, and now I see Hasbulla, and he reminds me of my own face when I look in the mirror, and I want my son back. So I can't wait to see him hold gold on Saturday.
Who would win in a fight? Your son Hasbulla or my son Bert?
Oh, I gotta say, Hasbulla's got that like center of gravity. He's gonna get Bert down in the ground.
Can we make a special episode sometime before the end of the year, just breaking down that hypothetical fight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that.
All right.
During the break weeks, there's gonna be nothing else to watch,
and that'll get Bert on your show.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Because we'll tag him.
And I need to get Hasbulla on here too. I need to be reunited like Maury Povich style with my son.
We're already training Bert for we've already bid the rights. So he has a war against the Fight Night Picks guys, the two Canadian brothers that do that.
Oh, really?
Fight Night Picks. And his war is that their shows are too long. That's like literally his problem. So he challenged.
There's too much content.
I'll have to find the video clip. Brady may know where it is because Brady's the one that like alerted me to this. And then of course I went in the chat and like it's completely disrupted everything Bert was doing because that's what I do. Bert challenged them to a boxing match when he's 18. He said he'll do it in Canada in front of their parents. He's going to box both of them on the same day. If he loses, he's going to give him, if he doesn't knock them both out, he's going to give him $10,000. If he wins, they have to make shorter shows. This is not a great business deal. This is not.
Well, he's boxing like both of them at the same, like a handicap.
No, like one after the other.
No, the gauntlet match.
Like not right. So I'm like, well, why is the trade-off 10,000 versus make shorter videos? Like, shouldn't you get more out of that? So anyway, we have already bid on the rights to.
What about this? Mushroom thinking either fighter, Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev by submission at -113. That doesn't seem like a bad bet.
I think
honestly.
you have to. You have to bet it, but like that.
I just don't want any part of this.
Is it a boost? Is it a boost? Because if it's a boost, be very careful when books offer you a boost because it means they're liable on the other side of that. Like,
look, I'm certainly not counting Charles Oliveira out, especially at underdog. If we talk just pure gambling, I'm talking predictions so far because I'm not putting a bet on this fight. But Oliveira at this plus number is actually ridiculous. And like you mentioned at the top, to have like pretty much the champion be this high of plus money, that's probably is the value side here for sure. But as far as a prediction, I just can't with this fight. I'm hopping off the money train of Oliveira, as I mentioned 100 times. And I see Makhachev winning this fight. I do. But if just pure value, like the mispriced line, this should be a lot closer, obviously.
Would you, since this is the first piece of content I'm doing for the week, you will have first dibs. Would you like to bet a shoey on it?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah,
I'll take Oliveira.
I'm taking Makhachev in this one.
Should remind you. I should let you know. I have a 4-1 shoey record. Just letting you know.
All right. Your one loss is Paul Shag, right?
Which we're going to get to in a second when you let me shill everything.
Absolutely. So, all right. So I like that we ended this because the last we spoke, we were on the same side of this one, I think. So
look, what's funny? Now I have to root for him because I got the shoey.
Yeah.
But I still don't know that I'm going to bet him. I'm the over 1.5, but I love the over 1.5. So,
all right. Well, guys, that wraps it up. We got through 13 remaining fights on this pay-per-view. UFC 260, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw for the bantamweight strap. So many exciting fights. It kicks off early. I believe it's like 9 a.m. Central Time, probably with that lacking fight. Now that it's 13, it'll be like 9:30 Central Time a.m. So get your mimosas and clear your day. It's going to be a lot of fun, Lou, and man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for hopping in last minute on like 26 hours notice. I appreciate having such a deep roster of very intelligent friends in this community. So I appreciate all of you guys for hopping in. And I did miss one comment that I certainly do appreciate.
You
and that
are
was
the
James.
father.
That was James S. New to the channel. I just subscribed. I appreciate you, James S. Everybody, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And let's hear Lou tell us where we can find him for the week. And the floor is yours.
Busy week. It's pay-per-view week. So, of course, it's a little busier than usual. Tomorrow is the evolution, the next step in my Thursday prop show. Props to consider and then maybe bet. And sometimes with guests. And for the first show, my guest is the venerable Paul Shaughnessy of the Dog
Amazing
podcast. I had to
Can't
work
wait
on
for
that. I really had to work on him, but we go down some crazy props. Some of them I've talked about today. I may have held 2 or 3 of them back because I have to have original content. But that's going to be cool. We record that. I release that sometime in the afternoon. Excuse me. I'm doing a show with WizBets tomorrow. We're doing our first NFL show, which is really cool. And midnight tomorrow night, the Horseman Ride, as Liam is getting the show back together with Wiz and Gordo and myself. And we will do late night fucking nonsense. And then Friday, 5:30, it's not even a pick show at this point. I'm pretty sure it's just a variety show with Monk and I. It's just me trying out stand-up and me breaking Monk mentally with like nonsense. But it's short. At least it's like an hour, and we get you out of there in time to go to the bar or get your bets in. And
yeah.
That's all
I love when it's early, man, because you can have the little after party as well. Shout out to Roberto de la Mora, just subbed. Where's the weed at? I don't have weed, my friend, but I do have my Cohiba Blue because I will be doing a show with Couch Warrior Podcast that features a lot of late night shenanigans. It's at 12 o'clock Eastern time on their time zone. So it's going to be Couch Warrior Podcast with me, Liam Picks Fights, Uncle Weezy MMA, and Wiz Bet. So it's going to be like a whole crowd of people in there. And I'm all for it at the crack of midnight. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. Again, this was the first show where I'm a partner with BetUS Sportsbook. So go in the description below if you need another sportsbook with competitive lines in all sports. Down in the description, use that link and you get a 125% match deposit bonus. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Make sure you follow everybody that Lou is associated with. He's a great guy and a good friend of mine. So enjoy the fights, you guys. Cheers.